Hello everyone, my name is Fareed Iskander and I'm the Chief Returning Officer of the University of Alberta Students' Union. Welcome to the second SUBstage forum for the University of Alberta Students' Union election for the Board of Governors race and the executive election. The races that will be contested today will be the Vice President Operations and Finance, the Vice President Student Life, the Board of Governors representative, and we have a representative from the UPass Yes referendum. The format for the forum today will be each candidate will get a 2-minute speaking term, followed by an opportunity to ask their opponents a question if their race is contested. The question cannot last more than 30 seconds long, and then the other person will have an opportunity to respond by a 1-minute response, followed by a rebuttal with 1 minute. After the debate is over, candidates will have an opportunity to answer with 1-minute responses for questions prepared from the floor. We have a mic right there set up for it. I have prepared questions, and also you can ask us questions from Twitter if you use the hashtag UASU. Please tell us what UASU vote. Please tell us which race you would like to ask a question to, and we'll have those questions up and running. Lastly, this forum is being live streamed right now at su.ualberta.ca/video. So thank you all for joining us, and let's get this race started. So the first speaking turn will go to the race of the Vice President Operations and Finance. So if we can have Josh Lay on the stage, please. Okay, I'm going to start counting now.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Josh Lay. First of all, I'd like to welcome everyone who came out today to the SUBstage forum, and for those who are watching on the SU website. You may recognize my face from popular media like Reddit, Daily Planet, or Ripley's Believe It or Not, for my jeans experiment, my Halloween costumes, and my general appearance. But that's not why we're here today. Today I'm coming as a business student, running to be your Vice President Operations and Finance. And it's been my pleasure to serve as your business counselor for the past 2 years, and I'm excited to apply my skill set that I'm learning and gaining as a business student to apply to the Vice President Operations and Finance position. My 3 platform points are to enhance the 10 owned and operated SU businesses, champion the sub-renovation and pod creation, and to strengthen the communication channels between the SU and its stakeholders, and ultimately the students. To expand on the SU businesses, I want to systematically analyze each business unit and develop a set of recommendations and then implement them throughout the year. For these sub-renovations, I'll explore the increased student social space and study space creation, as well as accessing the lower level to the outside of the sub. And there's a lot more platform points. In pod, we're going to be looking to create a communal kitchen, and I'd like to get your input on that. So ultimately, I'm running uncontested, but I want to create that dialogue with you. So please reach out to me. Visit my website at votejoshlay.com. You can follow me and talk to me on Twitter at JoshyLay. And I'd love to give more information. Vote Josh Lay for VP Operations and Finance on March 6th and 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. The next race that will be contested will be the race of the Vice President Student Life. The first candidate on stage will be Kevin Smith.
Hi, my name is Kevin Smith, and I'm running for the position of Vice President Student Life. I'm running on 3 main points: increased awareness, strengthen the services, and continuous development and support. The first one, increased awareness. I want to do this by bringing back the street team. For those of you that don't know, that was a group of students that went around, did classroom talks, did one-on-ones, to actually engage students so that they knew what was going on campus. There's many great events that, quite frankly, students just don't know about. And I think that actually going to them would be really important. The second, strengthening services. We have a great opportunity right now with the sub-renovations to really increase the camaraderie and the working together of the different services. The student services, especially volunteer-based, will be put in one centralized location. So this can work to help strengthen this. The next, continuous development and support. Well, that's just a bunch of buzzwords that fit in the phrase. No, just kidding. But what that is I want to strengthen the groups that are already engaged on campus. Groups like the LHSA, groups like the fraternities and sororities, the CSJ, the Augustana, all these groups, when they're engaged, when groups, people that are already engaged are getting the most out of the experience. They don't have to deal with countless red tape and bureaucracy. Their events can be supported, they can have grant funding. Then all of a sudden, other people see this and are more willing to get involved on this campus. There's not a lot of time for me to have a lot of answers in here, so please ask questions. It's very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is candidate William.
Thanks, guys. Hi, my name is William Lau, and as you guys know, elections aren't until next week, right? And I know as students, we're all very good at procrastinating, really good at waiting until the last minute. So I want to give you guys a chance to vote on something right now. Okay, so I'm going to quickly deliver the 3 points of my platform. Defending student voice, supporting student health, and strengthening community action. And what I'm going to do today is link these 3 points on my platform to events that I could potentially hold next year. And I want to hear, which ones are most appealing to you today. So first off, with defending student voice, I think it'd be pretty neat to have a case competition on campus where students can kind of mention the barriers that they encounter and how they could overcome them. And maybe, for the best ideas that we have to increase student engagement, we can have a prize for it. I'm not sure how much, maybe $2,000, $3,000, maybe $4,000. We'll have to see about that, right, Josh? Over 9,000, like the Watson with a smile. But secondly, supporting student health. I'd love to start an event on campus where we can showcase the student talents. There's so many diverse groups on campus and such a great diversity in the students that we have. And as a student myself, 23 years old, spending almost like 17 years of my life training in music, and some students training in arts. But what can we do now to bring an opportunity for students to showcase these talents that's been such a large part of their life? So I'd love to start something like a Campus Has Got Talent, so students can not only engage in each other's performances, but showcase who they really are. Last but not least, strengthening community action. How about something simple like break the record? Dodgeball, it's been done, it can be done again. And what would you guys like to see most? Would you like a talent show? Campus Has Got Talent? Would you like a case competition?
10 seconds.
To increase student engagement? Or would you like, this last one was dodgeball, right? Break the record. Any opinions out there?
Thank you.
Dodgeball?
Thank you. Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, candidate Lau. Alright, up next is the race for the Board of Governors representative. Whenever you're ready.
Hey everyone, my name is Brett Kelly and I'm running for re-election for the position of Undergraduate Board of Governors representative. There are 3 primary initiatives that I want to bring forward over the next year that will benefit the undergraduate student body as a whole. The first of these initiatives is to continue developing and strengthening the coalition of associations on the Board of Governors of this university. The purpose of this coalition is to provide better opposition to administration-led initiatives that aren't in the interest of the undergraduate student body, or really of the interest of the university as a whole. Initiatives such as tuition increases, fee increases, or changes to the resident system. The second initiative that I want to bring forward is to better integrate the Undergraduate Board of Governors representative position within the already existing advocacy frameworks of the Students' Union. The Students' Union president on the board has access to a lot of really great resources that enable him or her to maximize their advocacy efforts on the Board of Governors. I want to ensure an equitable level of access for the Undergraduate Board of Governors representative position as well, and also to better coordinate the Undergraduate Board of Governors representative position with the operations of the SU president on the board to maximize student advocacy on the Board of Governors. The third initiative I want to bring forward is to implement a system of mandatory tabling for elected student representatives to try and close some of the distance between the average student and their representative. This will hopefully increase awareness and involvement in the Students' Union. So that's just a little bit about my platform. If you want to find out more information, you can check out my website at brentkelly.me. You can send me questions on my Twitter at bkelly. And yeah, that's just about it. Don't forget to vote for Brent Kelly March 6th and 7th. And looking forward to any questions you might have. Thanks very much.
Thank you. And next up we we have a representative from the UPass Yes referendum side, Colton Yamagishi.
Good afternoon, students. My name is Colton Yamagishi. I'm the Students' Union President, and I am promoting the UPass Yes campaign. So, simple question. How many of you guys have taken a bus this semester? How many people have taken a train? That's pretty much everybody. Wow, so simple. Why would you support UPass Yes? Well, let me tell you. UPass Yes, what do we get? We get a fall and winter term UPass, just like we've had for the last millions of years, but an additional surprise of a spring-summer UPass. Even better. One could say it's 50% better. Awesome. So the UPass Yes side will support unlimited transit in ETS, Strathcona County, and St. Albert Transit. How much will this cost? Not that much more than the cost right now. Here are the prices for the upcoming years. 2013-14, $122.92, 14-15, $129.17, 15-16, $135.42, and 16-17, $141.67. All of these prices are much less than what was provided as an opportunity from ETS, but some good lobbying from your Students' Union made it a lot more affordable for students. Awesome, right? So, you can also opt out if you are a worker for ETS, if you have a disability that does not allow you to take transit, or you're on a work experience or co-op term that places you outside of the service area. So, all of these great factors, when you add them together, equal one thing, to vote for UPass. So do it. Yeah, students. Woo!
Thank you. All right, now we'll let an opportunity for the Vice President Student Life race to cross-examine each other. So we'll start with candidate Lau, who will ask a question for candidate Kevin.
Thank you, Fareed. Kevin, you mentioned removing a bit of red tape for student groups so that it'd be easier for them to, say, run events. Do you think that's enough to really engage students and give them that opportunity? I mean, like, the opportunity's there already. And if someone was already passionate about something and wanted to run an event, I think they'd be willing to run that event no matter how much red tape there is. And I don't think there's that much right now at all.
Thank you. Candidate Kevin Smith will have 1 minute to answer.
Good question, thank you, but I respectfully disagree with you. There are many events, especially when we look at the alcohol policy. There are many events held on campus every year that just go unreported, unregistered. This creates a lot of insurance liability issues. This ensures that they are not necessarily doing the proper precautions, and this is because of all the time and effort it takes to get the alcohol awareness forums set. When you get rid of a lot of this bureaucratic red tape, then students all of a sudden can go quickly one-stop shop, make sure that they are prepared for this, and then they can move forward. I think that any time that we hinder students from being safe is a substantial issue to the student health, which is something that they need. Thank you.
Thank you. And now candidate Lau will have 1 minute to rebuttal.
I do agree that student health is very important, and that we should make the process of supporting student health as simple as possible. Going on to your first point of your street team, do you have any other ideas that we could increase our marketing to students besides the street team alone?
You can't ask a question again. You have 1 minute to rebuttal total.
1 minute to rebuttal.
Well, you have 35 seconds now.
35 seconds. All right. Well, for alcohol awareness policies, I did run an event this year, and waivers were a little bit of a struggle, and I do agree that it would be a lot more simple than if we took the processes to, for example, disclaimers instead of waivers. And thanks.
Thank you. We will now give the opportunity to candidate Smith to ask a question to candidate Lau. We have 30 seconds to do so.
Okay, this will be a really quick question. I'm just curious what your stance is on the changes to the meal plan that have occurred this year.
Thank you. Candidate Lau will have 1 minute to respond.
Thanks for the question, Kevin. Regarding the changes in the meal plan, to be honest, I'm not too familiar with the changes that have gone through to the meal plan. When I think about how a meal plan should work, students should definitely have the choice, have the choice to where they want to spend their money, whether or not they want to engage in meal plan service or pay through other means. And I guess giving that choice to the students would be the best way to do so.
Thank you. Candidate Smith will now have 1 minute to rebut.
So I actually really like that answer, but just to give you guys a heads up on what the changes were, is over the last year there's actually been an effort by through advocacy that actually limited the expiration of all the funds that were left on the meal card. This has been a real substantial move by the Students' Union, and I think that everyone involved should be given some credit. That being said, I think that it's not done. I've talked to many people that have been saying that we've completed where we needed to be. And I do agree that the issue comes now on the mandatory nature of the meal plan. It has been described to me by some people in resident services that it's mandatory due to the fact that they believe that students don't have necessarily all the resources in their actual rooms to facilitate the food cooking. But if they didn't have the resources, then they wouldn't need it to be mandatory, they would all choose it.
10 seconds.
Thank you very much. Ask questions.
Thank you. All right, well, we will now open up a question period for all races. Anyone who wishes to ask a question can come to the mic here, but I believe we have one question from Twitter first.
So this question is for Vice President Student Life. I'm just going to read it word for word. How do you propose to increase diversity in the SU, especially exec? More non-Greeks, more women, etc.
All right, we'll start with candidate Kevin Smith.
Now this is something that's really important. I think that in the past though, it's kind of been approached in the incorrect way. No offense to some people in the past that have kind of looked at, we need to just make sure that there's someone on exec or someone in these different positions. I think that instead of moving towards this, which promotes tokenism, we need to look at actually the structural issues that create these divides. Why is it that in the Board of Governors race specifically hasn't had a female student rep in decades? It's something that's institutionalized, and I think that people often talk about we need to just get more people to run. I think that it's more about that. It's more about creating a culture shift so that we promote people like Nabni Kinda, Aaron Borden, Sarah, all the great people that are involved that are female and they can really make a difference. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Now candidate now will have 1 minute to respond.
I agree that it's a huge problem. Myself, my background's in nutrition. I'm not a Greek. I haven't lived in residence. Why I think this is such an important issue is because SU affects every one of us. And I think it's, first off, communications error, right? If the SU can't reach all of its students, and students can't see the relevancy of the SU to their everyday student life, then why would they run? Why would they get involved with the SU, and why would they vote? So in the upcoming year, I'd really like to diversify the marketing options that the SU could provide, not only with interactions with students one-on-one, but also through social media. And if we look at examples that have been set this year, such as U of A Compliments, U of A Compassions, there's such great connections there, and students can really connect to U of A as an institution. And unfortunately, if the SU could also play that role and throw itself out there to engage students, I think it could make a really large difference. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do we have any questions from the floor? Okay, so I will ask a question to the Vice President Operations and Finance race. My question is, Juicy's sales have been basically breaking even for the past few years. Do you have any ideas to better utilize the space occupied by Juicy? You have 1 minute to respond.
Thank you for the question, Fareed. First of all, the plans to utilize the space with Juicy is going to comply with Cram Junk next semester or next year as the renovations happen. They'll move to the lower level, but for that space, there is either two options that the SU can go. They can create a new SU owned and operated business, and like Willie had said before, or as business students know quite regularly, to create a case competition or a business proposal competition to fill that space, or we can have a new tenant there. And the SU, they gain a lot of money by having rent space by outside tenants. And I think those are two viable opportunities that we can provide more money for the SU to ultimately serve students by having more money and provide more services and programs for the students.
10 seconds. Thank you. All right, do you have any questions from the floor? All right, I'll ask a question to the Board of Governors representative race. My question is, if a faculty association signs a document stating that they are in favor of a tuition increase in the form of a market modifier, will you vote in favor of that tuition increase? And if not, how can you justify voting against the official representatives of that faculty? You have 1 minute to respond.
Thank you, Fareed. That's a really great question, and that's actually an issue that came up very recently, I believe with regards to the Engineering Student Society being in favor of some sort of fee increases, but yet the underlying problem is sort of a unresolved question of who has primary responsibility or primary authority over students of the various faculties. Is it the Students' Union or is it their faculty association? And to be honest, I think it's an unresolved question. I think it's open to debate. I don't think there is a clear answer as to exactly where responsibility rests. Certainly, on the one hand, the argument could be made that faculty association representatives have more of sort of a local one-on-one connection with the representatives, but at the same time, you could make that argument of their students' council representative. So
10 seconds.
So it's an unresolved question, but it's a really good question. It's something that we need to move forward in answering over the next year. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any questions from the floor? I promise you my questions will be just as boring as they were before, so your questions are probably going to be better than mine. All right, so I'll ask a question for the Vice President Student Life race. My question is, Week of Welcome in the past 3 years has either broke even or accumulated losses. Do you believe Week of Welcome should generate major profits, and if yes, what would you do differently from previous years? We will start with candidate Lau.
Thanks, Reed, for this question. When it comes to things like Week of Welcome and Students' Union, we're here to service students, and if we have to take loss, then so be it, right? Sure, we don't want to take a huge loss, and if we must find sponsors to help offset these costs, I think that'd be a great way to do it. I think as long as we're not taking money from the students and we're here to provide to them, that should be our first priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is candidate Smith.
I think there's actually two parts to that question. In the first part, obviously, it's okay to lose money if you're providing a value for students within reason. But I think that the most important question on that is what you would do differently. And I think that there needs to be a more fluid connection between the orientation that we get massive amounts of people going out to and the Week of Welcome. I think that there's this divide that has been established over the years, and they've attempted to try to keep them separate. But when you get high energy of orientation and mentioned in actually having it where, say, orientation leaders go out with the students, or it's actively, hey, you can get a free ticket maybe to one event, try to motivate people to attend these events, to make them larger. I think that overall, events with better attendance just get better. I know that the Dr. Seuss, the event,
10 seconds.
You know what? Week of Welcome's awesome, but I think it needs to be promoted a little bit better.
Thank you. All right, I believe we have another question from Twitter.
So this question is once again for the candidates for Vice President Student Life. It sounds like a lot of the events you have planned have already been done. How will you really improve student life?
And we'll start with candidate Smith.
I actually really like this question, and I think that one thing that's really important for you guys to focus on is that the events have been done, but they've not necessarily been done well. Like the events are productive based on the simple idea that comes from it. Events are productive by how it's marketed, how it's put on, and how many people get engaged with it. It's about getting the word out, making sure that everyone's involved. And I mean, there's always creativity. Like you can take a movie night, for example. I've done a lot of work with Alliance Films, Entertainment One. Let's say Hunger Games coming out next year. Let's say if we have an event with the campus food bank, you donate one piece of non-perishable food and then you get maybe a Mockingjay pin and a ticket to a pre-screening of Catching Fire. Now that people would be excited about. That changes it from an event where our movie nights, I have probably 10, 15 people attending, to something that is really a culture-building activity. And I think that's really important, to expand and make things amazing. Thank you.
All right, next up is candidate Lau.
Thank you, Free. Kevin, you had a really good point on expanding these events and creating a bit of culture and a bit of story and adding to these events, so it's not just the movie. But I think beyond that, you still have to put in the effort to get the word out. And when it comes to students, there's no one-size-fits-all. There's not going to be one method you can implement to get the word out to all students. And I think when it comes to marketing, I really like diversification. And like I mentioned earlier, I think social media is something that could really get the word out there to students. It's cost efficient for us, right? And there are a bunch of cuts coming, so we really got to watch where we're spending our money. And with more engagement, not only in regards to social media, but in-person conversations, I believe that these larger events and more cultured events would really spread love. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have one question from Bert.
This question is once again for Vice President Student Life. How do you see the small talent performances as being successful when you have explicitly admitted that you have no interest in music or movies that disconnects you from the students?
Thank you. We'll start with candidate Lau.
Thanks. I think we're starting with me because this question is for me. Well, when it comes to talents, it's something that's really intimate, I guess, for a lot of students, because talents are something that you foster over a long period of time. For lots of students, it's something that you spend most of your childhood on. And I think the opportunity to perform is something that starts to fade away after you enter university life. For talent shows, it would really improve student engagement because if we run it like an event that's on YouTube, for example, imagine this. It's lunch hour. You could go to Meyer Horowitz and watch student performances. If you're not free on lunch hour, you could vote online. And for students that get to perform, they not only get to showcase their talents, but they get to create a little bit of atmosphere around, whether or not, they gain their attention. Maybe be a celebrity on campus. But all these are opportunities for students to not only get engaged with others, but get engaged with themselves and who they really are. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is candidate Smith.
Hi. So I do watch movies, but I think that one thing that we really need to pay attention to is that this might actually be going in the wrong way. Moving the things like the singer-songwriter series from SUBstage to Meyer Horowitz puts it even less in people's mind, so that they notice it even less than it currently is. Out of all the people here, we're really loud. Many people don't care, aren't listening. I think that on a note that we can do is if we put it in even a more public place. We have a large event in something like Quad, where it's a big spectacular event. This works. We've done it with beer gardens, things like this. I think that making things bigger is a lot more important than putting it in a corner in Meyer Horowitz. I think that we need to bring it to students so that students are initially engaged with it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have any more questions from the floor? All right, I'll ask a question. This will go to the Vice President of Operations and Finance. The question is, construction of the sub-renovation project are planned to start this summer. How will you ensure that the construction does not unduly disrupt other areas in the operations and finance portfolio? You have 1 minute.
Thanks for the question. It'll obviously be a challenge with the sub-renovations going on, but we have to be able to consult and let the stakeholder groups who are in the SU be aware of the constructions. And it's going to be an inconvenience to everyone, but we'll make sure that they're aware and engaged and up to date with all the constructions and any challenges that we propose to them. And that's a lot to do, because ultimately the goal is to make a better students' union building, and that's what will happen. So we'll all benefit from this slight inconvenience. So it's a delayed gratification moment for ultimate awesome something. Awesome, not awesome something, awesome sub. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have any more questions from the floor? No? Okay, I'll ask a question to the Board of Governors representative. My question is, it has become more and more likely that the university will make significant cuts in their next budget. Who is responsible for choosing where the cuts are made? Is it university administration or the Board of Governors? You have 1 minute.
Absolutely, that's another great question, Fareed. At the end of the day, the administration has the delegated authority to sort of work out the nuts and bolts of the cuts, but the Board of Governors has the final approval over all sort of significant changes. The Board of Governors approves the university budget, the comprehensive institutional plan, and things of that regard. So, it's the administration that is going to, as I mentioned, to do the nuts and bolts of where cuts are going to be made. But at the end of the day, the board has final approval over the budget and comprehensive institutional plan. That's why my point about coalition building on the Board of Governors is so important, because we can provide stronger opposition to administration-led initiatives that are not in the interest of the undergraduate student body or the university as a whole. So, that's
10 seconds.
good question. Thanks, Fareed.
Thank you. All right, we have one more question from Twitter.
This question is for Vice President. There we go. Vice President, Operations and Finance. How does fair trade and trade justice fit into your budget for next year? Do you think Fair Trade Campus is worthwhile?
Thank you. You have 1 minute to respond.
Thanks for the question, Twitter person. Yesterday at the SUBstage, the Student Umbrella for Social Justice, we had a really good dialogue about fair trade and how it fits into the campus. And I don't know whether it's feasible right now, but one thing that I want to explore along with the other social justice groups is whether fair trade is viable. There's only one other campus that is, I think it's UBC, that is a fair trade campus. It's something I want to explore. I can't promise it, but I know I'll be working towards it and talking with the people to see if it's viable, because the SU can be a leader in sustainability, and I think that's something that the SU, with its political policies, already aligns itself with. So if the students are willing to engage in and buy products that are fair trade and support that avenue, I'm there to listen. And if you guys want to talk more about it, please do. And it's something that I'm looking towards for next year. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have any questions from the floor? Okay. We have one question. Oh no, candidates are not allowed to ask other races. Sorry. Okay, I'll ask a question to the Vice President Student Life race. Name 2 concrete changes you would like to make to the health and dental plan. We will start with candidate Smith.
One thing that I want to keep in mind is that I think stability is important. We just changed for those of you that don't know, we just changed our coverage provider last year. It was something that we did to save the students over $1 million over the life of the contract. I think that if we're going back and forth on a frequent basis, this is really going to create issues. That being said, I do think it's really important that we promote actually what the health and dental plan is and the opt-out, because I know that my first year in university, I was completely covered, but I was not aware of the opt-out. I was not aware that I could save this money by simply clicking probably 3 times on a website. It's extremely easy, but people don't know about it. There's many people who don't need it, and they need to be able to get out of it. That's a nice advantage that very few students use that. Sorry I didn't have time for another one, but cool.
Thank you. Right, and up next is candidate Lau.
Thanks, Fareed. Now, it's interesting that Kevin mentioned those 2 points, because he hit them right on the dot. It's really important to not only remind students that they have a choice in lots of the things that they do, but also broadening that up to, even who's going to be representing them for the next year. So again, giving students or reminding them that they have that choice, not only in the health and dental plan, but in every other choice and operation that's here in South and on campus, and promoting not only the health and dental plan, but also other activities and benefits that are provided to students. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have any more questions for the candidates? I ran out of questions myself, so. Any questions for UPass? No? All right. Well, if not, we'll just wrap this up. We're done a little bit early. So I would like to thank everybody who's been following us here and on the live stream. Don't forget to come out to the Meyer-Horowitz Forum, the biggest forum of the election, and it's going to be this upcoming Monday, March 4th at noon. All classes are canceled between noon and 1 on Monday, March 4th, specifically for the Meyer-Horowitz. So please come out and see the candidates give their hopefully best attempt at convincing you to get their vote. Lastly, obviously, don't forget to vote online on March 6th and 7th. All of you are going to get an email from me with a link and instruction on how to vote. And good luck to all the candidates on the campaign trail. Thank you.